Getting on to our first speaker is Joseph Ng. So, where's Joseph? Joseph, come on up. Big round of applause for Joseph. A couple of things. So, apparently Joseph used to be really skinny and addicted to World of Warcraft. He basically has his own corner store of candy in his office. And he's obsessed with ramen, but, you know, I guess who isn't? Over to you.
Yes. Is this the clicker?
Yeah.
So, thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Marsha, for putting on this event. I think it is really important to highlight the dark sides of entrepreneurship because not everyone gets the rock star status. And today, I'm going to tell you a story of overconfidence, a story of hubris, a story of how I blew over 120 grand US dollars. 3 very important lessons I learned along the way, and how we not only recovered, but found new opportunities. So this all started in 2013. We did a Kickstarter, and it was for our protein shaker bottle. It was designed so you put your powder in the lid, use it as a water bottle throughout the day, shake it up, press the button, and you have your supplements. And we raised just under $70,000 on that campaign. Shortly after that, we did Dragon's Den. A side note, it was the producer's idea to rip off my shirt. That was not mine. But on the show, we did a deal with Kevin O'Leary, Jim Trivling, Bruce Croxton, David Chilton for $100,000 for 25% equity in our company. Shortly after the show, though, we decided to not go through with the deal just because there's 2 main cooks in the kitchen and we didn't want them telling what to do with our brand. So fast forward a couple years. Umoro was doing really well. We were doing over 15, 20,000 US in sales some days with a team of 3. And we were blowing money left, right, and center because why not? And personally, I was probably blowing 15 grand a month on stupid ass shit. But this is where the story turns because we wanted to move into a new segment. And we thought, why not get into fitness apparel? And if any of you guys in the room are in fashion, you know how incredibly difficult fashion is. But we didn't know that. And we were making a lot of money, so why not? And in our overconfidence, in my overconfidence, we decided to get into fitness apparel. And honestly, it wasn't really thought out, the product. It was just t-shirts with our logo. And we bought over 130 grand of those t-shirts with our logos. Yeah, that's a lot of inventory. And when we launched, you know what happened? Nothing. No, not only did people not want to buy our clothes, because frankly it was just bland, we shocked our customer base. And not only did we have all this inventory we had to contend with, but our bottle sales declined as well. And I went from living the high life to barely be able to afford rent. And I think that's one common misconception that a lot of people have, is that once you reach success, it becomes easy and you can relax and take it off. But that's actually the complete opposite of what actually needs to happen. When you reach success, and to be honest, reaching success is one thing and it's easy. Maintaining it is drastically harder. And when you actually reach success, that's when you need to work harder than ever to maintain it. So I went from living the high life to the ramen life. And to be honest, it was a very dark and depressing time. And I became a hermit. And I really had to figure out what to do. And this is the first lesson I want to talk about. And it's the importance of having a long-term vision. If you look at everything in life at an arm's reach, and everything with a short-term vision, each and every problem you guys will have will seem insurmountable and impossible to overcome. But those same problems, if you have a long-term vision, just become bumps along the road. And you guys don't need to know what you want to do in 10, 15, 20 years from now. Just know that you want to do something. For me, I know that I want to change the world in some capacity in my lifetime. Do I know exactly how I want to do it now? No. But that vision and that goal of changing the world is what galvanizes me and carries me through the hard times. So much so that I tattooed "Pursue the Impossible" on my wrist. And for those of you who still don't believe me, think back to when you were in high school, because I guarantee you each and every one of you had a problem or a day where you're like, oh my God, my world's over. And looking back at that, those same problems seem so trivial and so insignificant. And in 10, 15 years from now, whatever challenges or problems you guys are having will seem just as insignificant. So I implore you, have that long-term vision. Know exactly that you are going to do something in the future. You might not need to know exactly what again, but know that you want to do something. So who's seen this on Instagram? Life begins at the edge of your comfort zone. Not only does it make a cute and quirky Instagram post, but the meaning behind that is so important. Because life truly does begin at the edge of your comfort zone. From your first steps, to your first kiss, to your first business, all of life's most defining moments happen at the cusp of the unknown. But most people are afraid of failure. Most people are afraid of venturing out of their comfort zone. Most people are afraid of the unknown and the pain that comes with it. But pain in life is inevitable. You can either deal with the pain of failure and the pain of personal growth, or you can deal with the pain of regret. And while you can get over the failures and you can grow and learn from it, you cannot turn back the hands of time. And when you're failing as entrepreneurs and as individuals, that's a good thing. Embrace failing, embrace fucking up, because that means you're pushing your boundaries. And when you're pushing your boundaries, you're growing as individuals. And the last thing I really wanted to talk about is the extreme importance of personal growth and development. Because too many people grow up with a very fixed and closed mindset that, hey, I'm done university, I'm done college, I know what I need to know, and I'm done with it. But having such a closed mindset really limits you, because in the end of the day, you can spend your entire lifetime learning and still know absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. But whatever challenges you guys are having in your businesses today, I guarantee you someone, somewhere, has had those same problems, and your solution to your problems are in a book somewhere. And at the end of the day, the only difference between who you are now and the Mark Zuckerbergs and the Oprah Winfreys of the world is what you know. So do not stop and do not limit yourself. Always chase personal growth and development. One of my favorite books on this list is called Mindset by Carol Dweck. You guys know? And in this book, if you guys haven't read it, you need to read it. But what it talks about is a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. A fixed mindset person is somebody that says, hey, you know what, my business isn't going to be successful because I don't know the right people, I didn't get venture funding, and the world's not right now. A person with a growth mindset says, I know I'm going to be successful no matter what challenges I'm going to face because I will find a solution. And as entrepreneurs, you guys are dealing with so much shit. Way more than the average person, and that's not even a lie, that's a fact. But having that growth mindset is what's going to help carry you through the challenges and carry you through the hard times. And I really want to implore for you guys, never stop personal growing, because to grow is to live. And at the end of the day, it's all about those experiences and personal growth and development and what you can impart on the world. So, where's Umoro now? We used a strategy from a book called Blue Ocean Strategy, and we pivoted Umoro. So a blue ocean strategy is there's red markets, which are red oceans, which are hyper-competitive. And there are blue oceans, which have very little competitors or no competitors. Think of the iPhone when it first came out. No one had them, and it became a blue ocean strategy. So we pivoted Umoro from fitness apparel, where there's thousands of companies, to techwear, where there's probably less than 10. And by using that, we were able to increase our average cart value by over 300% and increase our lifetime value by over 1,500%. Last year, we were able to also look at the skill sets we had developed, and we launched a new company called Shift Supply Group. And we're just coming up on our year end right now. In our first year, we're on track to do over $3 million in sales. We've shipped over 250,000 garments to date. I've also met some really amazing people through this journey, and I'm able to start new companies. So I'm starting 2 new companies with 2 amazing YouTubers, not the Logan Paul and Jake Pauls, don't worry, and create really cool brands with them. And I'm telling you guys all of this not because I want to boast, because none of this would have happened had I not fucked up. None of this would have happened had I not had that long-term view and vision to carry me through the shit. None of this would have happened had I not embraced failure and embraced pushing past my comfort zone. None of this would have happened had I not relentlessly pursued personal growth and development. So I implore you guys, never stop learning, have a long-term vision, and embrace fucking up and embrace failure. And at the end of the day, choose to pursue the impossible. That's it.
Amazing. Let's click on the next slide. What do we have there?
What do we have here?
What do we have? Q&A.
Okay, Q&A.
Questions, everybody. I think we're going to get someone to help us out with a microphone. Okay. I see somebody with a question. 2 people with questions back there.
Hey, yes.
One sec. Microphones on their way.
Sneak on by here. Excuse me.
Okay, so what was the thinking behind why you ordered so much stock? Because obviously there was some sort of pride, some sort of why you thought it was a good idea, and what was the point you realized that it was your mistake rather than, say, denial about the customers or denial about the market?
Absolutely. So we ordered a lot of stock because it's hubris, it's Icarus. I flew too close to the sun. I was very overconfident. We were killing it. We were selling a plastic water bottle for $30 US with shipping. Some people are paying $45 for it. I was like, yeah, we can do whatever. But then we realized, and this is where a lot of actual brands fail, it's called crossing the chasm, from those early adopters and innovators to the mass market. We did not have a brand, we had a product. But in that time, I didn't know that, because I didn't read the book yet. So it was my overconfidence. It was my decision to do that. And I learned to have that ownership because Jocko Willink's book called Extreme Ownership. And as entrepreneurs, you can claim all your successes, but to do that, you need to also claim all your failures. And you need to have ownership of that. So that's when we really kind of realized, oh, it was my decision, ultimately. And as the CEO of a company, you can blame your customers, you can blame anything. It's your ship that you're driving.
Hey there. Thanks so much for sharing your fuck up. At what point did you actually realize that you fucked up, and what was the kind of thought process behind turning it around?
When my bank account turned to red. But that being said, obviously it's a very uncomfortable place, and we're all humans. At the end of the day, we're all gonna fuck up, and there's nobody that's going to go through that situation and be like, I'm ready and I'm all willing to go through it. You're gonna deal with some shit. But at the end of the day, it's that long-term vision that galvanized me. It's that long-term vision that, hey, you know what? This is just another problem I need to solve. This is just, I can find the solution to this, because at the end of the day, it's my life. I have one life to live, and it's my duty to make sure I can live it to the best that I can. So I need to find a solution out of this. And all my friends that I care about, my girlfriend who I love, I want to make sure I can provide a life that we're all happy and that we can actually say we did something. At the end of the day, it's, what is it? As Aristotle, it's eudaimonia, where it's, you have to find happiness in human flourishing. And to me, that's what got me out of the funk, and that's what really kind of pushed me through to the next step.
Cool. Thanks.
Hi, great presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
So my question is, how did you prevent past fuck-ups, especially with regards to VC money or just raising capital? How did you prevent those from haunting you trying to raise money in the future? Like if, someone lending you money might look at a past mistake and say, look, he is a riskier bet now because of maybe the way he handled this in the past. So how did you prevent it from haunting your future?
So 2 things on that. Now I invest in a few companies, and if I see people who fuck up and learn from it, I should see it as a positive, because that's something that I'm not going to have to worry about anymore. But one thing in today's society, everybody wants to raise seed money, everybody wants to raise capital, everyone wants to raise venture. Stop giving away your company for something that you can get over and you can push through if you apply enough effort. And I think people want, I want $100,000 or I want $1 million. Push your company as far as you can prior to receiving that seed funding, because you can make your valuation higher. And too many people, they just want to get that seed funding and then the money sits in the bank because they don't even know what to do with it. But to go back to your question, I think that at the end of the day, most venture capitalists invest partially in the idea, but they invest in the entrepreneurs. And if they see that, yeah, you fucked up, but you learn from it and you can push past, that's who they're going to invest in.
So as an entrepreneur, you obviously are extremely busy. And my question, which is very selfish, if nobody cares, I'm sorry, but when do you make so much time to read? Because I know you've read a lot of books. And when do you actually make that time? Have you always been a reader, or do you specifically time it in?
So in 2018, guys, we have something called audiobooks. I don't know, I've never been tested, but I definitely have some sort of mild dyslexia and ADD. So I can't actually sit there and physically read a book, but audiobooks, I can do really well. And you have to slowly build it up. But I listen to my audiobooks at 3 times speed. So I can, on average, finish a book a week. And it took me 2 years, 3 years to get there. It's called neuroplasticity. Your brain develops gray matter for the actual skill. But audiobooks are your absolute tool. I do it when I drive, when I clean, when I'm working out, because I am so busy. But having those little times, that 15-minute drives at 3 times speed, it's 45 minutes of a book. Most books are 9 hours long. You can power through most books. Obviously, listen at speed where you still have comprehension. But that's what I do in terms of reading books. And I finish probably 40 to 50 books a year using that. And I truly believe that when it comes to learning and books, there's a saying, wise beyond your years. These books are people's lives distilled into something you can consume in such a short period of time. And if by going through these books and by learning through these books, you accumulate knowledge of someone who's hundreds of years old. And yeah, so audiobooks.
Hi, I absolutely loved what you said about embracing the fuck-ups. The
Yes.
problem is, sorry, I'll stand.
Worries.
The problem
There you go.
is, of course, that throughout our entire lives, our education system, our jobs, we've been told that if you fuck up, you're a very bad person. You're a horrible excuse of a human being at times. How did you learn to embrace the fuck-ups? I've never gotten a really good answer from other people. I'd like to learn how you learned how to embrace a fuck-up.
So whenever somebody tells you that you're doing something wrong for fucking up, that is their own limiting beliefs. That is their own failures. That is their own fears being imparted on you. I grew up from a first-generation Canadian family. My mom worked all my life. My father had cancer when I was a child, so I grew up from a situation where my mom's like, you have to work, you have to get the 9-to-5 job, get a good retirement, and you're good. So starting as an entrepreneur doing this, trust me, it was completely off the wall for my parents. I think until last year, my dad's like, oh, I'm happy that you have a business now. The longest time he was asking me, like, you don't go to work? I'm like, yeah, I'm still working now. But at the end of the day, when someone says something to you like that, in business, regardless of failures or fuck-ups or anything negative, it's their own insecurities being imparted on you. And it's because they're too afraid to leave their comfort zone. And they're too afraid that you are venturing off into the unknown without them. Oh, wait, did I answer it?
Yeah, that was a good answer.
Okay, there you go.
Can you please pass it down to the lady in the gray sweater in the middle there?
Hello. Hi. Right here.
Okay.
Awesome. So my question is, you seem like a really self-driven person, and I really admire your work ethic as well as your philosophy about life. So my question is around how much do you have to depend on other people for the success of your company and just your journey to entrepreneurship?
So, as an entrepreneur, we would all like to think that I did everything. But in truth, you didn't. You have to depend on that person who's answering your customer support emails, that person who's fulfilling your orders. There's an entire support system that helps you grow to where you are now. And I think it's very asinine to think that you did everything yourself. And I think it's a very closed-minded approach. And if you think you did everything yourself, please read Mindset by Carol Dweck. But everybody that surrounds you, they believe in you. They're there with you because they think that your vision is something that's worth fighting for. And you need to support those people, and you need to believe in those people, and you need to take care of them and be a leader and not a boss.
Following that, how did you find that group of people in the first place?
You know what? As long as you're an entrepreneur who's not an asshole, you're going to find some people that really believe in your vision, and they want to come along that journey, and they're willing to, frankly, they're willing to sacrifice years of their life because of this vision. And it's being that leader, it's being that person on the front lines and not shouting orders. That's when you get people to follow you. That's when you're going to get people to believe and come along that journey with you.
Hey there. Thanks so much for helping us overcome the file drawer problem. If you're in science, you might know what that is. So again, thank you very much for that. My question is, what role does intuition play in your decision making, and what do you do to test your hunches?
Okay, so I think as entrepreneurs, you're making a lot of guesses and hypothetical guesses, but intuition is something that grows with your experience in life. And that's why I'm such a hard believer in terms of growing your personal experience pool, to challenging and pushing your unknown, because the more you know and the more different situations you're adapted to, the stronger your intuition is going to be. And again, as an entrepreneur, and if you actually know a lot of companies, and the more and more of CEOs that I actually run into, nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. They're all just guesses. And those guesses from some people who have a lot of intuition are going to be a little bit better than the person who has no intuition. But at the end of the day, intuition comes with experience. Yes?
Tell us about your goal in the next 12 months and the next 4 years. I'll repeat that. Tell us about your goal in the next 12 months and then in the next 4 years after that.
So in the next 12 months, I went from 1 company to 6 companies, so my goal is to kind of grow all those brands. And some of these YouTubers that I'm growing these brands with, I feel almost responsible for them. They're my kids. So I want to make sure they have success, and I want to be able to grow and put positivity out there through their brands and be able to kind of grow Umoro into a more widely known technical brand within 4 years. At the end of the day, it's no matter how excited you are about a project, we are humans, we get bored over time. And I want to obviously keep those growing. But I would love to do stuff like this because some of you guys got a twinkle in your eyes, some of you guys don't, that's fine. But it's those people that have a twinkle in the eye that excite me, because this chat that was 15 minutes might actually change your trajectory. And if you guys create something that's that unicorn app or a unicorn company, and it just happened to be a little bit influenced by me, that's so exciting. And that's something I would really love to do in the long term.
I think we have time for one more question.
Hey, I have a question
okay.
over here. Hi. Woo. I'm ready to go with the mic. This is going to kind of take you back a little bit. I watched your Dragon's Den thing, and you mentioned today that there were too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yes.
Do you think that if you went with Arlene, things would have been...
Okay.
Oh, I didn't mean... Yeah.
So I can't believe I'm telling this story, but this is a very funny story. So prior to becoming a respectable businessman, I used to do shirtless waitering. So I was at a charity event, and actually the week before I was on Dragon's Den, I was serving Arlene hors d'oeuvres shirtless. But Arlene actually wanted us for herself, because she said there would be too many cooks in the kitchen. And in hindsight, had I not chosen to go the path we would, yeah, I think we would have probably been better off going with one person who strongly believes in your vision. That being said, though, again, for my segment, the Dragons, you have to understand, like, Dragon's Den is watched by maybe 3 million people across Canada. Out of that, maybe 100,000 watch your segment. Out of that, maybe 50,000 actually pertain to your product. I think that if they relate and they actually provide genuine value more than the marketing aspect, absolutely do a deal in Dragon's Den. But in hindsight, I think Arlene would have been a lot cooler to kind of work with. Yeah.
I mean, things worked out, so good for you.
Hey.
Amazing. Thank you, everybody. Joseph. Nicely done. Thank you.